Hi again, this is Deborah coming to you from Canberra in Australia. I'm going to give you an update on the first video, which had a few unfinished projects in it. Some of them I've now finished, and so I'll give you an update on those. Some of them I've made a little bit of progress on. I've set the ground ready for me to finish them or at least progress them further on. I've also put in a couple of things that I finished in that period that weren't on the original video. I don't have videos of them, I just have photos, so I've just captioned them. So that's towards the end. A couple of my friends and I decided to introduce a UFO Monday. We all have more unfinished projects than you really should have in one house. And so we decided that we would just set one day a week, one evening after work, when we got together and just worked on an unfinished project. We weren't allowed to bring anything new, anything we've just started. It was an unfinished project that had been in the cupboard for some time. So 4 of us actually started, and we chose Monday night because that's the first night after a weekday, a working day. I'll get it right in a moment. And so we still had energy to work on our projects. Only 2 of us are really still doing that. Occasionally we will get one of the others coming along, but one of the people who started with us went back to working full-time after some years working part-time, and she's still exhausted 2 years later. The other lady had given up work and had all of her stuff organised at home and didn't really need to do a UFO evening because she was working on them all the time. So one of the ladies finished a beautiful sashiko bag not very long into the project, and I have included a photo of that. It's just lovely. I didn't get a real close-up. I wish I'd had. Not long after we started the UFO Monday nights, I had a really bad dose of flu. So that's what I'm talking about at the beginning of the video. I was off work for about 2 weeks. It took me weeks after that to fully recover. And so nothing much happened for a while. And I was actually quite excited to get back to some sewing and to finish something after that dose of flu. It was very nasty. It was not COVID. We were actually, I think we'd recently come out of a very long lockdown due to COVID when we started UFO Monday. It wasn't COVID that I had, it was one of the other flus that were going around, and it was pretty nasty. Anyway, we will get stuck into this video, a couple of finishes, a couple of other things to be going on with, and there are some more to come with things that you didn't see in the initial video, but which I have finished. Okay, so this is the first finish from our UFO Monday nights. This was a panel of Doctor Who little tiny stockings for Christmas decorations. I happen to have some Van Gogh TARDIS fabric in the house, so instead of making 3 stockings with the same TARDIS in the universe on both sides, I decided to make 6, and they have the TARDIS in a Van Gogh painting on one side and the proper TARDIS in the universe on the other side. I did have a look at quite a few different ribbons, and I brought a few home because who doesn't always need ribbon. I ended up going with the sparkly
like tinsel. It's actually on a wire, and so the loops on there are quite strong. I did get a nice blue velvety one, and I did get almost like a light TARDIS blue. But in the end, I decided it's Christmas decorations. I will go with the bling. So that's project 1 finished. The box you can see behind it has project 2 in it. It's a bag. Many years ago, an online friend, sent me a box of upholstery fabric offcuts, and I started to make a bag. At the moment, I did save the pattern with it, but there were 5 different views on the pattern, and I have no idea which one I've used. The pattern pieces aren't helping very much because they can be used for several different views. So next Monday night, first thing will be to figure out what the heck I'm up to and what I need to do next, and I will try and finish that bag. It's actually going to be a lot easier now because I now have a heavy duty sewing machine. So it is going to make short work of the heavy upholstery fabrics, especially where it's layered. And I think I'm going to get a much better finish finishing it on the heavy duty machine than I would have just with the domestic machine. So it's almost serendipitous that I'm finally getting around to it now, when I had a sewing machine emergency a month ago and had to buy a new one and decided to go heavy duty. So it all works out in the end. Another finish from my UFO pile. I'm supposed to be doing this on Monday night, but the last 2 Monday nights I've just sat and talked with my friends. Haven't really had the energy for sewing, but I seem to be back. Not thrilled with it, but it's my very first attempt at making a bag, and I think it was probably quite difficult fabric. If I didn't have the heavy duty machine, this would not have been completed. It's very thick fabric. There are places where there are a lot of layers. Another reason why that heavy duty machine was a great buy. I recycled a 1500 count sheet that was way too hot even in the wintertime, and so I've recycled that for the middle inside of the bag. White's pretty good to have inside a bag. It allows you to see what's going on. I put pockets at each end. There's another one at that end. Contrast fabric so that you can see the pockets, and then you can see what's in the bag as well. I think I might use it for some knitting stuff. I like to have a knitting project going at all times, so that might be where it lives. I've got one going at the moment. It's a shawl, and it will eventually be big enough to actually fill that bag, I think. Yeah, that was an interesting exercise. Probably I won't make another one in that very thick fabric. I have a couple of other patterns that I want to try, and I think I will be trying them in cotton drill or something similar, something that's a lot thinner, but still pretty sturdy. Anyway, there we go. Second UFO finish for this year.
I'll pop in some of the projects that I've actually done some work on but haven't finished right here. They're mostly about selecting fabric and that kind of thing. Several of them I selected the fabric and then I packed it all up together and put it back in the UFO box, and they will be worked on when I get to them. This is what I've ended up doing with the blocks
that I had left over. I have created the sashing out of smaller blocks. It's ended up really busy and really bright. So I'm going to put some applique flamingos on, just to break it up a little bit, take away a little bit from the just overwhelming brightness of it. And I mean, flamingos. Why wouldn't you? This is the flamingo fabric. I'm thinking ovals, applique on. I'll just have to see how it works out with the fabric. But the background colour blends very nicely with the lighter blue. And, well, you know, who doesn't like a flamingo in sunglasses? Okay, this is the one. This is the one that's going to work. Just look at that. They all go really well with the poppy. There's a little border on the edge. Not really sure how I'm going to use that. But those panels work with that flower. Turns out I have a lot of bears with flowers. Obviously bears go with flowers, and I like bears.
I've done a final selection for the fabrics to go with the teddies. I'm not sure that the flower is going to fit in anymore, but we'll face that when we actually get around to making the quilt.
Dr. Linkletter is just around in case there's problems.
Like if he needs a new diaper?
No. Can we please have a nice dinner? We could.
The last couple of quilts are ones that I'm actively working on at the moment. They have a dot on them on my Project Bingo card. The rest of this video was taken before I decided on the Project Bingo approach, but the things that are in there will be incorporated into it. They're on the list. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we will get into some more finishes, some more things that I'm actively working on, and some finishes very soon.